I want to thank one of my longtime followers for getting back to me after my last upload. So I look forward to checking in with you next week. Um, so I just want to thank everyone for the support. Sorry for the hole in my shirt. um, so it's early. We're waxing out of a new moon, which must be why this message was urging me to deliver it. And I'm realizing it's, Oshun is involved in this because I'm like, I just, again, really had to get up out of my comfort zone and go live and deliver this message. And this is a lot to unpack. Um, but this is a message from Oshun. And it all started when I watched this reel from this sister talking about how essentially saying that she's going to start dating men that she's attracted to, and how dating men that are not what she's really attracted to, but that meet the standard that she sets for herself, is starting to give her anxiety, because she does not want to have sex with them. They're not, she's not sexually attracted to them. They desire her. They meet the standards, and furthermore, she went on to say how mostly the men that approach her are um, unattractive white men, or essentially men that she considers, you know, not not as attractive. And she mentioned being attracted to what everyone else is attracted to, verbatim. And she mentioned tall, dark, and handsome, but she started to take dark out of that, saying that you can any essentially saying any race of man can be handsome. So when a woman takes dark out of it, I know that she really does have some trauma dealing with black men. Um, and when, just talking about, having positive experiences with white men other than not being attracted to them, and this is a light skinned sister, but by scale, she's a 4, 5, or 6. And, so this upload is referencing high value, and the way that term has been used in terms of people like Kevin Samuels, a lot of dating coaches talking about what is considered high value. And for some people it could be a negative term because it stereotypes. But I want to talk about high value from an African spiritual, um, spirit of the river wisdom, from a message that Oshun wants to send. And again, I'm mentioning that this sister's light skin because um, uh, to be light skin and still not have the confidence to go after tall, dark, and handsome, essentially black men. All right, to be a light skinned sister, again, and I'm not saying she was ugly, but she's not convinced, she's not really necessarily attractive. And the thing that made her the least attractive was her lack of confidence. Because I watched another reel of another sister who was um a little more brown paper bag skin, more of a caramel, a bit more of a caramel, still maybe considerably light skin, but definitely with more of a brown undertone than the other sister who had a definitive yellow undertone. So, there's that. But this sister, she I would I would say that she would be more of a 7, maybe to other people an 8. But I would say she was maybe a notch or two just conventionally more attractive, just more youthful looking. But what really made her more attractive was the confidence that she was radiating and the glow. She had a glow, and she was basically speaking on the topic of, and she was speaking with a lot of confidence about how only rich men can afford to marry for looks. And so she was essentially with confidence talking about the sexual dynamics, when it comes to dating and marriage, when it comes to men with money and women with looks. So she had a clear grasp on sexuality. And the other sister, the other light-skinned sister, what I'm saying, who was basically expressing her insecurity with dealing with men that she is attracted to, because she went on to say, and it wasn't just about, oh, that only white men come at her. She went on to say that she wants to deal with men that she is attracted to, but she's attracted to what every other woman was attracted to. And she basically said, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the competition. I just don't want to deal with it. So she was really openly expressing her insecurity, but she was doing something very particular that at this time I want to, talk about Oshún and Oshun's message, and reminding witches who I tend to talk to, black witches essentially, and this deals with warlocks too. This is for warlocks too, because I'm going to get to black men in a minute, maybe not in a minute, but toward the middle of this, I'm going to get to black men. But this 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 is one of the stark differences, which is between us and women, is our natural inclination toward understanding sexual dynamics, and that combination with never having really been in subjugation to a man, and never really needing validation from a man the way I continually express, the way human women do. And so, you know, as a witch, having the gifts of enchantment and also having power and having authority and a natural born wisdom that you don't always need your mother to teach you. And this is what happens with women when what their mothers don't teach them, and what you learn, you either learn the hard way or never really learn at all. And I want to remind you of some patakis surrounding Oshun, and remembering about the main trinity, which is, all right, Oshun is the mother of witches, all right? Oshun deals with witchcraft. Oya, Yansan, deals with sorcery. Sorcery is wielding the power of the sources, which is powers of nature, including the universe, which deals with ether and time travel and such things. Oya deals with sorcery, and therefore her ruling of weather deals with the sorcery of making it rain, or bringing a tornado or earthquake, or a resource from one place to another through a rain or through a storm or through a tempest. All these things, sorcery, dealing with. And furthermore, Oya deals with the source. Another form of sorcery is raising the dead, because death is part of the universe. Death is an element, you know. So Oshun dealing with witchcraft. Oshun is dealing with, so to speak, earthly powers and earthly resources, and essentially an understanding of not just herbs and spices, but an understanding of metaphysical uses of physical things to manifest or create a reality, or also destroy. So Shun is dealing with the detailed metaphysics, the ritualistic as above, so below, meaning the earthly acts that manifest in the spirit realm and create a full circle of events intended to favor the witch, so to speak, or I don't want to get too deep, but I'm reminding you the African spiritual trinity of the gifted woman. Yemaya, Yemoya, Yemanji deals with I want to say more so union, but where she's not marginalized to motherhood, but her feminine power um deals with maternity, and in the sense of Yemaya, that deals with her being the essentially the maternal source of all the Orisha, the feminine source of all the Orisha, um, and dealing with the powers of maternity, which can also translate to being the queen, la regla, being the queen of a nation, being the matriarch. So matriarchal rule, matriarchal leadership is what Yemaya deals with, and this is why when it comes to dating and hormonal balance, um, we see Yemaya essentially remaining single and taking lessons and learning wisdom from men, but never overstaying um, past what she got from the relationship. And her main thirst was wisdom. Um, we even see a Pataki of Yemaya getting bored with one of her lovers, not essentially Agayu, but definitely related to the volcano or a fiery lover, and giving Oshún to that lover so she could move on. And essentially she moved on to Olodumare, who she learns, or she moves on to, not Olodumare, she moves on to Orunmila, who she learns divination from. But before that, she was with another fire elemental, another volcanic lover, who she gets bored with and gives Oshun to him so she can move on. And so here we see the beginnings of understanding African femininity and African sexuality, originally being polygamous. And I want to get to that when it comes to the nature of the black man and why so many black women have anxiety dealing with black men and will choose the anxiety of not being sexually satisfied and the anxiety of dating someone that they are not sexually attracted to, but knowing that they are emotionally and socially secure and safe, meaning, usually meaning financially, than dealing with the anxiety of dealing with a naturally polygamous man who does not have the natural inclination to love his woman. Now, when we look at Oshun's sexuality, we let's we can look at her relationship to Yemaya in terms of not just mother-daughter. Let's look at the fact that Yemaya saved her from poverty. Oshun, Oshun, the most beautiful woman, the most sexually desired Orisha, it does not mean you're the most, and the goddess of love does not, deals with a lot of envy, deals with a lot of only being wanted for your looks. And, we see a lot of women being thrust into prostitution when you don't have necessarily protection. So looking at Oshun and her sexuality, you're dealing with a damsel in distress energy. And this is why Erzuli, the daughter of Oshun, is the embodiment of damsel in distress through her full embodiment of prostitution. Whereas Oshun, we see as the source of love. She and Erzuli, again being the lady of sorrows, dealing with the constant heartache, never being loved the way she loves, but being a damsel in distress. So soon we see dealing with the source of having the wealth of beauty, but the youth to not yet know how to wield it. That's the energy of Oshun. She is still the youngest Orisha. So what is Oshun's sexuality? You have a young girl who is the sexiest, most sexually, specifically sexually desired Orisha. And so when she gets paired with Shango, she's the second, third, she's the third wife, essentially. You know, second, third. Now, uh, technically, so to speak, we could look at it as Oba being the wife, being the given political and legal wife of Shango, and that representing community, that representing the nation, that marriage, and Shango being the king, being the ruler, needing the queen counterpart to bear an heir to the throne to continue the nation. So we see the political marriage, and we see the traditional marriage of husband and wife through Oba. But who was Shango in love with? Oya, who was at this time with Ogun. If you guys, so I gotta go through these patakis. That's why I'm like, this is gonna be loaded. I'm charging my phone right now because I don't know how long this is gonna take. So at this time, Oya's with Ogun. Shango's married to Oba. Oshun is given to Shango through Yemaya to be taken out of poverty. And remember the pact that Yemaya makes with Oshun to guard the secrets of the mirror, and also getting a portion of the 7 seas and the riches, and her only taking enough what she needed to take care of her children. So now Oshun goes from being the sexiest damsel in distress to being the second wife. So we see Oshun's sexuality rise to power um through your sexuality, not through having the sovereignty that Oba had of the right to marriage, but through sexually working your way up to where your motivation is actually taking care of your children. Now, what happens in all of this? All right, Oba comes to Oshun because she's jealous of how much Shango prefers having sex with Oshun, even though Oba already has her glory, already has her place. But Oshun is the sex goddess, love goddess. And Shango enjoys having sex with Oshun the most. Still being in love with Oya, and essentially therefore enjoying having sex with her the most too. Because remember, Oshun bailed Shango out of jail, out of Oya's prison, and he went back to Oya. Then Oshun went through a depression, and Eshu had to save her from that. And that's where the first castration comes. But I'm getting too deep. You guys don't know all of this yet. Hopefully you do. If not, we can discuss the ascension of the Orisha. But right now, Oshun, with her sexuality now, what's happening? She's a second wife. She's staying in her place. Her children are safe. She's safe. Oba wants more than her sovereignty. She wants to know Oshun's sexual power. So this is the message. This is the first message that Oshun wants to send. And this is to her daughters. You don't owe human women your mysteries, your gift of enchantment, your blood-born witchcraft that allows you to enchant your way out of situations. It's not about taking what someone else is. It's about being able to enchant your way out of poverty. being able to enchant your way out of danger, being able to enchant your way out of rape or murder, being able to enchant your way into justice. It's not about taking what someone else's. It's about enchanting your way into what's rightfully yours that has been taken from you out of jealousy. So in this circumstance, remembering again Shango, the ultimate polygamist, the representation of polygamy, and what figure and what figure in African history represents Shango more than King David? He was essentially a reincarnation of Shango, or was being governed by the Orisha, or the force of nature, political rule. King David was the first king of the Hebrew Israelites. And we see his issue with women, and then his son, ruined the nation because he couldn't control collecting women. Now, Oba goes to Oshún to learn her mysteries, and Oshún again is warning witches, have enough wisdom to make a woman pay you instead of treating you like you owe her something. Beautiful women, you have a gift, and you don't owe women your understanding of men, of nature, of the world, of spirituality, of anything, because you have the gift of enchantment, and the way you look proves it. All right, you have a duty and a responsibility to make someone earn your wisdom. So Oshún, instead of giving Oba the one thing that the one so to speak card up her sleeve, which is her gift of sexuality, she tells Oba to cut off her ear and put it in the soup, and instead of Shango now becoming sexually attracted to Oya the way instead of Shango becoming as sexually attracted to Oba, his political wife, as he was to Oshún, he is now disgusted by her because she did this thing that Oshún was clever enough to manipulate her into doing, instead of giving away her power and then just essentially being powerless, which is, it is your duty to not give away your power. And if you feel like you must, you better be getting something out of it. Otherwise, you're going to have to compensate your ancestors for what you have given away that was not yours to give away. It's yours to keep, not to give. It has been given to us. It is ours to keep. Please understand that as a witch. How are you going to teach women if you don't make them learn the hard way? We have to learn the hard way. We had to burn. Let these women burn in their sexual heat until they learn how to respect you as the goddess to them that you are, incarnate. Oshún is reminding you of that. Now, this sister the real I'm talking about, she is like Oba. This sounds like an interesting fable book. I just wanted to say you look a bit tired. I think of yourself to take a good rest. Yeah, well, when you're a high priestess, you don't you can get waken out of your sleep with messages that it's my role to deliver. So yeah, I am tired. But I still had to deliver this message. That's my role as Black High Priestess. Very few women can speak for Oshún. So it's okay. I don't have to work today. So this is my job right now. Bye. The sister in the reel, the light-skinned sister, who is insecure, essentially because she does not want to compete with other women for tall, dark, and handsome men, but she's now getting anxiety because she wants to be with someone that she's actually sexually attracted to. She represents Oba. And this is why I'm mentioning her skin complexion, because to be a light-skinned woman, and to not just know and feel just based on your color that you can pull a black man, you know, um, you must not be in the South. People in the South date for color. People up north date for money. Um, and so to speak, resources. Now, in the South, and I'm still essentially kind of dealing with black people, African American. In the South, why do I say people date for color? Because they're color struck. Because they're dealing with a more and more naturally segregated form of racism. They're dealing with more direct contact with slavery. Up north, we're dealing with industrialism, industry, and corporate stuff. So we're ran by money and commerce and manufacturing. Up north, there with more freedom for people of color, that is actually a more freedom to, so to speak, choose. In the South, it's, the slave, there's direct contact with slave syndromes. The slave syndrome, you're going to see black men thinking like a slave, dating the slave master's daughter, only dating white girls or white-ish girls so they can get by behind her skirt, so they can have some clout, so they, and because that's what's considered beautiful in the South, because black women are considered ugly. And so all the black women that are considered ugly, that the slave masters actually like, are now open and available for the white man, the slave master, to have at. So this is why I say, for a light-skinned black woman to not feel confident enough to just pull some any old nigga, tall or short or whatever, handsome or not, you must not be in the South. Now in the North, you know, again, people more so dating for money. This is, what can I say? How can I put this? In the North, where there is a little more freedom and more freedom to make money. There's not so many slave syndromes, so to speak. People are not so manipulated by necessarily color so much as they are by what a person can do for them. In the South, people are not independent. People are very family and community oriented. In the North, the independence that comes with making money and having freedom, we have an independence culture. So in the North, dating becomes very much about how can we cohabitate, versus in the South, it becomes about the culture is to exclude black women, exclude dark-skinned women as ugly, and then let all the white men have them. So what, for a light-skinned sister to feel insecure about going after men who she feels that look good, you're dealing with a woman who, so to speak, is aware and does not see her reflection in beautiful women. And you're dealing with a woman who, and this is what I really, really want to get at. You're dealing with a woman who somehow was taught that she's high value and deserves a man who can do this, and this, and that. But life has shown her that only ugly white men are coming at her. She has been taught that she wants to be treated a certain way and that she deserves to be treated a certain way. But she doesn't get that treatment from black men, or she also understands that being treated well doesn't come with tall, dark, and handsome. She understands what comes with tall, dark, and handsome is he can have whatever woman he wants. She doesn't want to humble herself and go into the orbit, into the realm of tall, dark, and handsome that comes with tall, beautiful, sexy women pursuing him. Tall, dark, and sexy women pursuing him. Short, dark, and sexy women pursuing him. Ugly women pursuing him. Models pursuing him. Rich women pursuing him. Married women pursuing him. She doesn't want to go into that realm where she has to humble herself and compete with other women, particularly women that she knows are more beautiful than her, that she believes are more beautiful than her, never mind what the men think. She has been dealing with dating the men that come at her, who can afford her, who give her what she wants in terms of how she wants to be treated. So this is what happens when, as a woman, you are taught, just because you're a woman, oftentimes in the black community, just because your skin is lighter, that you are deserving of this, and that. And it goes also into women coming from families or backgrounds, or simply coming from the ego of Oba, the ego of sovereignty, the ego of I'm better than other women. I you know, it's having a, it's, there is a standard that every woman should set. But when you have that ego of I naturally deserve this, I don't have to do anything to earn it, I am naturally deserving just because I'm a woman. All right. When you come from that and you are confronted with the Oshún energy of I come from poverty, the wealth that I have is my looks, and I'm going to use that and wield that because that's the gift that God gave me, and because I know that that is my power, because it is something that I actually am good at because I enjoy it. When you as a woman come from this ego of I'm a woman, I deserve the world, and you're confronted with a woman who is actually beautiful, who is actually sexually attractive and can receive the world just because she's enchanting. When you come across a woman who looks as high value as you have been taught that you are, and you've never put into your looks, and you've never humbled yourself to make yourself approachable and desirable, and to make yourself more feminine, into where you are showing humility to a man because you recognize he has something that you need, instead of thinking that he owes you something because you're a woman. So when these human women, women who are taught that because they're a female they deserve marriage, and they're confronted with the reality of the men that I actually want to have sex with deal with women who are sexual, who are sexy. The this is when this is the first instance of what I'm talking about, of being confronted with a hormonal imbalance. Because a woman who does not want to humble herself in the sexual realm and play the feminine role and put on the sexiness to attract a man because she thinks she deserves one. All right. She doesn't want to compete with other women. All right. You're dealing with a woman who has a hormonal imbalance because she does not really respect men. She's also, her hormonal imbalance is coming from the fact that she does not have sexual confidence. Why? There's a lot of reasons a woman may not have sexual confidence, but a lot of it comes from, again, hormonal imbalance. When a woman wants sex, she's going to behave in a sexy way. That's natural hormones. So when a woman wants sex, but she's not behaving in a sexy way, she's hormonally imbalanced. Where does that hormonal imbalance come from? The ego of, I'm too good to behave the way other women behave. I want to differentiate myself, and I don't want to have to compete. So my way of competing is to act like I'm better by not competing. To act like the sexy thing about me, or the good thing about me, is that I don't behave like women in heat. All right? And again, when you're a sex goddess, you're not throwing yourself at men. You don't have to, but you are behaving in a sexy way, meaning you are dressing in a way that expresses how you feel about yourself. You feel sexy, you feel good, you feel beautiful, you dress that way. You do your hair, you do your makeup, you adorn yourself in ways that express how you feel about yourself. And women who don't want to do that, who don't really feel sexy, the hormonal imbalance is because a woman, she's looking for a tall, dark, and handsome man to make her feel sexy. She is not aroused by her own beauty. She knows she's not beautiful. Furthermore, she does not find herself to be beautiful. She's not aroused by her own reflection sexually. So she needs a man to arouse her. She does not feel sexy because she's not aroused by her reflection. She does not have confidence. And that radiates, and that is the difference between women who deal with tall, dark, and handsome men that are desired universally, and the women who marry for money, marry because it was safe, marry because she didn't have to compete, and end up trying to cheat on their partner with a man for sex. And this is why I want to tell you, you black men who are more handsome, you got to understand that a lot of women look at you as a sex object. They don't have the you're no different than what I talk about with the beautiful woman. A lot of women don't have the confidence to be in your vicinity, to wield their femininity around you. They don't want to and you got to understand something, brothers. Most black women in America are not confident enough to compete with white women for a black man, for an athlete, for all these black men that openly don't date black women, that are in situations, that are in communities where black men only date the white girls and are raised and groomed to do that. A lot of black women do not have the confidence to compete with white femininity, Asian femininity, Latina femininity for a black man. This is why, black men, if you want a beautiful black woman, you have to go find a good thing. You have to find your wife. You cannot expect black women in this day and age, when all over TV, everywhere in media, black men, tall, dark, and handsome in particular, are shown with anything but a black woman. You cannot expect black women to see black men as a safe space for us. So, hormonal imbalance, it's Oshun's message is The hormonal imbalance starts with how much a woman is attracted to your own self as a woman. Ladies, if you don't find yourself sexy, you have no right to expect a man to. And this is why a lot of you will put up with, okay, the reason why a lot of black women are putting up with ugly white men at all, but putting up with ugly white men or ugly men or men that you don't desire, that are not universally desired. The reason, again, the reason a lot of sisters you're dealing with that is the lack of confidence to compete with the universal desirability of black men, meaning, you're not just competing with other black women that you can get a grasp on their femininity. You're competing with women whose femininity you don't really understand. And a witch is universal. A witch is not limited to race or anything. This is why beauty and Oshun's beauty and sexuality it's universal. You can go anywhere and be considered beautiful. It is not based on your race or your location or this and that. And a lot of women know that they are not beautiful, but yet they want a sexy man who is sexy, who is universally considered sexy. They want the ideal man when they aren't even attractive enough to themselves to behave in a sexual way. This is the harsh truth about being high value. And men, I want you to understand that, just, you guys, I know you'll stick your dick in anything, especially black men. You guys have no standards, and we know this. But I want I want unattractive black men. I want unattractive black men who are not tall, dark, and handsome, so to speak, to understand you're I unattractive men, we know you love black women, because we're the only women that you really feel like you can get. And black women are always feeling bad for someone and giving someone the time of fucking day. And black women, stop giving ugly men and men that you don't like the time of day. But unattractive black men who are not tall, dark, and handsome, you gotta understand what black athletes, black movie stars, black musicians, what those in entertainment have done to destroy black love and only elevate white women. You have got to understand, black women do not feel safe emotionally around any black men. You are not going to get far with a black woman unless you put in the work. Because what the tall, dark, and handsome men have done is going to reflect on you average, hardworking men who just want a girlfriend, who just want, and some of y'all don't even want kids like all these fools do. Some of you just want a girlfriend. And yeah, some of you guys, you want attractive girlfriends and everything like that too. But you got to understand, the same way that you ugly men, that you use your money and you use all these underhanded ways to get a woman to like you, because you have learned that you're not as highly desired. You got to understand that average women, unattractive women, meaning women who are not even attracted to themselves the way they should be, they are settling for you guys for safety. And women cheat more than men, and that's why. Because you guys can still get what you need, even if you stick your dick in something ugly. And it's not that y'all don't go and try, and I say this all the time, married people get married to someone who's easy, and then they try their luck with attractive people. This is why I tell attractive people, you cannot be mixing and mingling with people who are insecure. It's not about how much they weigh. It's not about how they look. It's not about how socially acceptable they are. If they're insecure in any way, if they do not love themselves, you cannot be around people who don't love themselves the way you love yourself, because they're going to try and take something from you without earning it. Look at Oya. Let's look at Oya's sexuality in this, and back to the Patakis and the whole situation. How does Oya deal with Shango? Oya ain't even married to Shango yet. You know, she's with Ogun at this time, and Ogun's not just, he's having erectile dysfunction for whatever reason. He's not taking care of it. He sends her to the market. She encounters Shango, and that's, and you know, and that's all she wrote. So now Oya's with Shango, and eventually when Oya gets sick of Shango's flirtation and when she gets sick of it, then she goes back to Ogun. You know, now there is the thing where Ogun cursed her where she couldn't get pregnant by her lover, but Shango is Oya's lover. Ogun is Oya's husband. When Oya was dealing with Ogun, when Oya was dealing with Shango, Ogun got so mad he was going to destroy the world until Oshún came up and had sex with him and calmed him down. And only Oshún could do that. So you have to understand, you see Oshún constantly being the second wife to the older women who can more so easily move on after sex because they're not so caught up in sex so much because they're independent women. We see the sexy woman essentially doing the cleanup work and being the sexual element in things. You gotta understand, these ugly women, these insecure women, who want to be with a sexy guy and they're not sexy. The ego of, I don't want to humble myself and have to share this man. And it's not that any woman should sign up for polygamy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you want tall, dark, and handsome, you want a black man, you're dealing with a man who's naturally polygamous. And you're not being realistic about the fact that you want sex. You want sex, but you don't really see him as a safe space for your heart, because you don't know how to humble yourself and share his affections with other women that he may choose or that may come after him, and he may not choose, but you don't know how to, you don't have confidence enough in yourself to keep him from choosing other women. You don't play at all. You know, you can't win if you don't even play the game. So we see Oya's sexuality in this, and this is what I want to really remind and offer to black women who are in this situation where you're above sharing a man, but you're now getting anxiety because you've never been sexually satisfied. You know, understand that as black women, as African American women, it's not that our inclination is to be polygamous, but we culturally, it's you can handle it genetically more than you realize. And a lot of you sisters who were clearly raised in a white area, because for her to say, and her to be light-skinned and say that that ugly white men come at her, that's because she's in an area where there's predominantly white men. If you were in an area where there's predominantly black men, you would probably be lowering your standards because you're probably used to a certain income bracket, and you're probably, you know, it's predominantly white because There's more education, there's more resources, there's more income, there's more opportunities, there's higher paying jobs. If you're in an area where it's predominantly black men, most likely it's going to be a poorer um, area. If it's an area where it's predominantly brown men, meaning, you know, Latino or you know, immigrant of sorts, that's going to be working class. But an area mostly black, it's going to be more poor, most likely. Yeah, there's some suburbs that are predominantly black, but they can't compare to a predominantly white suburbs. A person like me who grew up in a white suburbs would not is not going to consider a lot of predominantly black suburbs unless they actually have a particular income tax bracket anywhere near a predominantly white suburbs, because you could, the products of predominantly black suburbs are still nowhere near as educated or poised or sophisticated um, as black people who come from predominantly white suburbs, where you're going to have a much higher standard because you were raised with a higher standard. And you were also raised to think and behave like a white woman, which is to let your whiteness give you, you know, that is that as a woman who has proximity to whiteness or is white, you naturally deserve protection and provision. And then when they get in their 50s, then they divorce their husband and because they want to fuck the black janitor. They want to fuck the black security guard. And and their marriage ends in divorce. But usually white guys don't, you know, usually, you know, usually it's the woman who divorces the man. See, she fucks the black security guard or the black janitor, and then when he goes and actually starts a relationship with a younger woman or a woman of color, then she wants the divorce. Most men who get married are codependent and they don't leave their wife because they need her. They are not independent men. You know. So I just want to offer that to black women. There's a influencer called Cadences. He's a Thai Asian influencer, and he did a reel yesterday that said, you know, if you're having confusion about life, choose the exciting option. Black women, you deserve the excitement of sleeping with a black guy the way other races of women get excitement from it. You deserve that. But you have got to be worthy of it. You've got to really you cannot you cannot know that you're not as high value as another woman who's actually bringing some her sexuality to the table, and expect, you know, expect to get the results that you want. You cannot have an ego toward other women where I don't want to compete. I don't want to do, you know, if you want to have sex and have good sex in your life, have good sex and then date for marriage and then date for security. And then when you're ready to settle, you know, as a black woman, you have more capacity genetically to behave like a man, meaning to enjoy your sex life in your youth and wait until your 60s or 70s to get married. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Black women, if you're getting anxiety because you don't feel safe emotionally with black men, and but dealing with white men is also throwing off your hormonal imbalance. Because here's the thing with the hormonal balance, and let me explain. This is why white women deal with black men to compete with black women. I need you guys to understand that they don't give a fuck about black men. They are validating their need to prove that they are better than black women. And they know that black men are weak enough to help her validate her envy against his own woman. They understand that they have that privilege in this society where they can turn the black woman's man against her. And why does she want to do that? She's competing with you. Stop looking at it as something else. It's not. All right? It's not natural for a woman to desire a man of another race. It's not. It's demonic. So, you know, a lot of, again, black women, you're a lot of the hormonal imbalance of us not feeling safe around our own men and finding emotional safety with white men. That that's the same reason why white women are now unapologetically openly pursuing black men, because white men have stopped protecting her. The white woman no longer feels safe around white men because she's seeing how she can treat black women. She's seeing how she can treat black men. She's seeing white men are afraid of black men. They're afraid to stand up for their right to be with their own women. They're afraid to call out the black man for the brute that he is, that they said that he would, which is let him free and he's going to fuck all our women. And that's what is happening in America. You let the black man free, and now he has taken over your women and calls you racist and steps on your neck as a white guy. And the ones crying racism are the only ones sleeping with white women. The only black men who are with white women are black men who feel inferior to a white man and feel like all white guys are racist, so let me get a white woman because I have this much to prove. And white men do nothing about it. And this is the hormonal, and that hormonal imbalance again, that's confused white women into, does she desire black men, or she just desire what all women desire, which is to feel safe and protected and provided for. And that's how white men make black women feel in America, and a lot of places in Africa too, anywhere where there's colonialism. And so black men, you have to understand that. You have got to understand that a lot of black women don't feel emotionally safe around you, and a lot of sisters have a hormonal imbalance, because she can't go to her own race of man, and she's not attracted to the white men who will do for her, or the Mexican men who will do for us. And so this is why you see a lot of black women becoming obese. You see a lot of black women not putting into their looks, not putting into their beauty, not being sexual, not out here competing for black men the way other races of women throw themselves at black men. Or the way sexy black women who know their sexual worth and who present themselves to the world in a way that shows that she is sexually attracted to herself and she wants the world to know that she is a beautiful woman, that she's competing. And a lot of, when you're dealing with men who don't want to fight for a woman, he has a hormonal imbalance too. When you're dealing with feminine men, like a lot of black men are, who expect the woman to do all the work because he's so used to women doing all the work, women in her feminine energy are not going to put herself out of her feminine energy to get with a black guy. So again, this is what I want to offer, ladies. Take your time until you find the right match. I think I say all this to say the sister does have the right idea. She said, I'm going to start dating men that I'm attracted to. I think that's the right way to do it, but I think she's also going to find that she's going to have to accept her level of attractiveness. And she's going to find that whether it's on the dating apps or in real life, she's going to find that if she wants to deal with men who are going to approach her and do this and that for her, they're not going to be tall, dark, and handsome. If she wants to deal with a tall, dark, and handsome guy who's highly desired, and if she wants to get that clout of, I got a tall, dark, and handsome guy to fuck me, which sounds more like what she wants than to just find someone that she's sexually compatible with. It seemed more like, I want a sexy man because I can't find sexiness within myself, and I can't create sexiness in my own life. And because I know I'm not sexy and I don't feel sexy, she's not attracting sexy. She's attracting ugly men who use money to pay for women who will allow it. Ladies, here's another message from Oshún. Remember this: men will do what you allow. So the other message from Oshún, ladies, don't ladies, do not allow a do ladies, recognize your insecurity. Recognize when you're being insecure, and do not allow a man who you're not attracted to manipulate you in your state of insecurity, in your state of feeling low value, or your state of feeling, well, essentially, when you are in a state of let me take what I can get, you're in a state of I don't want to do the work to get what I want. So I'm going to take whatever I can get. And when you allow ugly men to be in your face, to call you and to text you, or to take you on dates, and now you're being seen in public with him, and people and the attractive men who you may actually like see that you're on a date with this guy and think that you're a couple. When you allow these things to happen to you, and you keep guys in the friend zone, just because they'll act like they'll give you the emotional support, but you could never ever fathom having sex with them, not even for money. If you're not attractive enough to have sex with someone for money, you're not attractive to have and if you aren't fantasizing about somebody, you know, um, what that will throw off your hormonal imbalance. Having a guy around you that you are not sexually attracted to, that you're using as an emotional pet, what do you call them, emotional support animal. Having emotional support animals, you got to understand, once you give a guy access, it's going to be very hard to get rid of him, because he's going to play up on that, and he's going to act like your friend in a lot of ways. These men who want to sleep with you and know that you don't like them, but you've given them access because they know you don't have anything else going on. These men are not your friend. All right? They're not your friend. If a man knows that you aren't sexually attracted to him, and he's persistent, he's gonna do what you allow. And that's the same thing with a man who keeps cheating on you. That's the same thing with a man who keeps disrespecting you, who doesn't buy you gifts and takes you out. If all you guys do is have sex, and he's not doing the things you want, it's because you're allowing it. Now, unfortunately, the only real option is to leave, because a man can only change for Christ. A man just cannot change for a woman. He's got to change for Christ, because if a man is acting demonic, it's there's nothing to do with you. If a man doesn't love you, doesn't eat your pussy, doesn't buy you gifts, doesn't take you out, he's demon possessed. If he will still sleep with you, you gotta understand, men who treat you like that, they're 2 steps from being gay, and that's a demon. But they probably got a demon that keeps them in a wrathful energy, or they'll have a demon that makes them just hate women altogether. But if he's treating you like he hates you, he's dealing with demonic energy. But if there's just a lack of chemistry, ladies, you gotta understand, um some of you women are dealing with um ego. You're dealing with pride, the sin of pride. You're too proud to figure out how to find beauty, how to be beautiful, how to humble yourself, and really compete for what you think you deserve. Because nobody does just automatically deserves to have sex with someone who is sexy. Attractive man is highly desired. And if you as a woman aren't highly desired, you are not evenly yoked with a man who is. And that's why you're going to feel like, oh, I just don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to have to deal with the competition. Yeah, because, you know, you don't want to have to you want the sex, but you don't want to have to go out with that man and deal with other women looking at him, other, women wanting to cheat on their husbands with him, not being able to trust him when he goes out because other women are throwing you don't have the confidence to deal with that man. So what makes you really, really think you deserve that type of man? What do men like? If women like tall, dark, and handsome, universally men like 36, 24, 36. If you are not 36, 24, 36 measurements, you cannot realistically think that you're a highly desired woman. And again, having a big ass is not worldwide desired. That's regional. It's territorial. It's cultural. 36, 24, 36 is universally desired. There are some facial features and different features that are universally desired. But men don't say tall, dark, and pretty. It's 36, 24, 36. That's the going ratio for generally what men highly desire. Now, if you look good in the face or not. You can tell generally what celebrities, represent like universal beauty or not, or what images look good, but ladies, be realistic about why you want a sexy man, and be realistic about your need for sex. And it's okay to enjoy your sex life, and it's okay to understand that a good sex life may not come with emotional stability. And that's really where you're lacking in some femininity as well. And that's where you gotta understand, it's okay to want good sex. And a lot of, again, when you're raised around white communities and you're raised to go from being a daughter to a wife, and you're raised to marry for what looks good socially, instead of really, really figuring out who you're in love with and how you can have a relationship with that person. And like Cadence has said about going for the exciting choice, I want women to start really letting your body tell you what man you're in love with. And I want you women to understand your insecurity comes from not, you see, Oya found another guy to satisfy her when her husband wasn't doing it. And then when she got sick of him, she went back to her husband. But also, women who have confidence in their beauty have confidence that they can get another guy. A lot of women, your insecurity is coming from you don't have the confidence to will your sexuality to get another guy. You wait on guys to come at you, and you take what you can get because you have a scarcity mindset. And you also don't have the confidence where, if this doesn't work out, I can get another one. You have got to understand that you can get another one. And I want you women to look at like the past 5-10 guys that you dated. And if you're over 30 and you haven't dated at least 10 guys, again, if you got married, and you haven't really learned enough about yourself, you might be one of those women who ends up cheating on your husband or divorcing your husband in your 50s. Because now you want to catch up on lost time. Ladies, the way to get in touch with your sexuality is to stop looking for someone to take care of you. Be independent. Figure out what you like. Sleep around a little bit. figure out what you like, you know, and figure out how attractive you are. Learn about yourself. Because once you get that confidence, get in a, you know, a lot of you women, you want to be socially squeaky clean, um, you know, and then you get this anxiety because you're looking at a life of no sexual satisfaction. And ladies, I gotta warn you, stop dealing with men who you're not attracted to, and stop dealing with men who have small penises. Men who leave you in heat and who leave you in anxiety and who leave you unsatisfied, that spike, that creates a hormonal imbalance where now you're thirsty for sex and you're looking for a mandingo, you know, but you're not built like a Oshún. You're not built to deal with being treated like a hoe. You're not built to deal with coming from poverty and knowing, okay, I have to sleep with this person and I have to satisfy them because they're a resource. You're not built like that. You're built like someone owes you something. And when it comes to, you know, when it comes time to you thinking about you, what you want from sex, you don't know how to satisfy men. And you've never really been satisfied by a man. And so yeah, going into wanting sex with sexy men can that can be very intimidating, where you're dealing with experienced women who are sexy, who know how to satisfy men. So ladies, stop being so damn quick to marry because you're insecure. Stop being so quick to let someone take you off the market just because they're doing this and that for you. If you don't like someone, say no. And the reason women, especially black women, or especially, average looking women who don't want to be sexy for a living, the reason you say yes to ugly men is because you don't feel you can't go get another one. Another one ain't, you don't feel another one's gonna come around. You don't feel like you can get what you want. And y'all be the ones that work acting weird around all these, ugly black dudes who you think are attractive just because it's someone who's just different than your nerdy white husband. And half the time the nerds be the sexy dudes. It's just these white guys who have no character, no person, and they're a lot of times they're sleazy. They don't really have respect for women, so that's why they act creepy and they try and buy you and they give you all these gifts and they shower you with gifts and compliments. They're really just treating you like a daughter because they know it's going to work. They like to go for black women because they know black women 9 times out of 10 are insecure. They like to go for women who aren't beautiful because they know 9 times out of 10 you're insecure, and that's why you look average and ugly and unattractive and look like you're intimidated by the world and shit. Um this men go for what they think is insecure. And they'll go for a beautiful woman too because they think you're dumb and insecure. And they'll shower you and do all this and do all that for you. And when you complain about the handsome guys who don't treat you right, they'll be right there to listen, and they're waiting for their chance to sleep with you. They're not your friend. So, when it comes to dating, I want attractive women to really really recognize your worth and recognize your value and put yourself in places where men are tall, dark, and handsome, especially if you're a black woman. Put yourself in these places because like the other sister was saying, where only rich men can afford to marry for looks. If you have looks, you can't behave like an ugly, insecure woman. You have to behave like a rich woman. You have to behave like somebody owes you something. The way these ugly women behave. You have to be the one to behave like someone owes you something. And women who don't want to be sexy for a living, um, you're not better than the women who do. You're not better than women who strip. You're not better than women who have to sleep with men for money. You're not necessarily better than women who throw themselves at men. I would never advocate that stuff, but again, these women end up married just the same. Stop letting white men or validation from other races of men or men who do this and that for you. Don't let ugly men buy you. And but furthermore, recognize a lot of you are looking for a handsome man because you're looking for the validation that you're beautiful and you're not. No, a beautiful woman does not need the validation of having a man who's handsome. You know what I mean? So ladies, start finding the beauty in yourself and stop looking for some man to be handsome to make you feel sexy, and figure out how to be sexy, because you are going to attract what you are. And if you're attracting ugly white men, that's because that has a lot to do with how you think. Has a lot to do with how you think and how you feel about yourself. You're placing high value in white men because white men make black women feel safe socially, because they're the ones who protect and provide for us, while all our men are busy being raped by white women, sleeping with white women, doing what they can with white women. Black women do not feel safe with black men. And if a black woman feels uncomfortable around white people, she's marginalized. If you get a black woman who's uncomfortable around white people and she doesn't like white men, that's a very marginalized sister. And she's going to get a wake-up call one way or another. That's a very marginalized sister who has no experience with how well white people actually treat black people compared to how black people treat each other. All right. I'm not advocating being behind enemy lines as a black person. I'm just saying that um I'm just reminding black women that a lot of a lot of men are a lot of men pursue women that they feel are insecure because they've also had that same experience of they're not attractive, and they can't get the women that they're attracted to like them, so they've learned how to manipulate. And they will go for attractive women if we're dumb. But if that doesn't work, they'll go for whatever works. So recognize, you may be more attractive than you think. Um, if a man is trying to buy buy your affection, but it can be, sometimes it can be even dangerous to allow a man that you don't like, who to allow a man who is not good with women, to allow a man who does not attract women to him. Or he may be average, he may look decent enough, but if his personality turns women off and he can't keep a woman because something's wrong with his character, because he doesn't know how to treat a woman. Stop dealing with these men that are forcing themselves on you. Don't let them act like they're your boyfriend if you're not going to sleep with them. And start 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 being a little more bold with men you are attracted to. I'm not saying throw yourself at them, but I'm saying that what works with tall, dark, and handsome men, and what works with tall, handsome men, or just men who are highly desired or more highly desired, a lot of times it's showing that you're choosing him, showing that he would be your choice. Not saying throw yourself at him. I'm not saying get on a knee and ask him to marry you. But I'm saying let him know that you would be my sexual choice. And um because a lot of these men, they're going for what they feel their options are too. A lot of tall, dark, and handsome men, they're just as insecure to pursue a beautiful woman as other men are. They go for whatever throws themselves at him. If you really don't want a man like that, because that's not really the type of masculine man you want. You really want a masculine, you want a warrior. You want a man who is a killer by nature. You want a man who will kill. I'm not saying you don't want a jailbird. I'm saying you want a man who has the natural instinct to hunt and kill something. And the hormonal imbalance with dealing with these unattractive white men is you don't if a white guy, he could be a hunter, he could be camping, he can be doing something that symbolizes masculinity, and he doesn't have to have money, but you'll want to give him some pussy. This is the problem. This is the thing with hormonal balance. Stop letting men buy you when they are not arousing your hormones as a woman to make you want to sleep with him, because he has performed masculinity, because he has demonstrated masculinity, because he has proven that if you were in danger, he could protect you. It is better as a woman to give your hormones what they need by sleeping with a dangerous man, and not a man who acts like not these black security guards who act like they're dangerous, but they're really like tall and overweight and have and they really aren't as dangerous as so to speak, like maybe a 5'7" martial artist who's fit, who fasts and eats healthy and knows 4 or 5 styles of martial arts. That's a dangerous man. And that man you will want to give pussy to, instead of a man who's tall, dark, handsome, but he's probably got a gut. He probably can't fight. Probably doesn't really, he's probably too insecure. He probably sleeps with whatever woman winks at him twice. You know what I'm saying? Or, he's because he's relying on this tall, dark, handsome thing, but he's not a dangerous man. It's better to sleep with someone who's shorter, someone who may not give you the sense that he's dangerous because his skin is extremely dark. All right, it's better to sleep with someone who's genuinely dangerous, a man who genuinely takes no shit, a man who will genuinely knock someone the fuck out on behalf of you, because he's genuinely knocked people the fuck out on behalf of himself. If a man has not proven that he is a killer, your hormones will never get what they need as a woman, ever. And you can convince yourself that sleeping with a black man will do it for you, but all it's going to do is ruin your marriage with a man who's actually giving you a stable home. But a lot of you women, you not built to be like Oshún. You're built to be like Oba. You're built to be married, symbolically. But you can't even appreciate that. You want it all. And Oshún didn't even want it all. She was offered it all, and she only took what she needed to take care of it. So this is the thing with you women. You're not beautiful universally, because your heart is not beautiful. Your heart is greedy. Your heart is selfish. Your heart thinks that you deserve everything all to yourself. Your heart isn't humble enough to think that I would have to share my man. And that's why you don't end up with tall, dark, and handsome black men who would kill. Because you're not humble enough to his testosterone. You also want to be territorial with him. And when you get the position of wife, and when you get rights to all of his wealth, you still aren't happy with that. You still want what God gave another woman. That character in you, women, is why you are only a 5 or a 6. You will never top the scales in beauty because your heart is not beautiful. You want more than what God gave you. Oshún is beautiful because her character is a representation of her character. And her age didn't matter. She was given sexuality despite being the youngest, because sexuality represents love. And you women who don't know how to love, you're not looking at sex as a duty to satisfy a man. You're not looking at it as it's my duty to be beautiful and to be sexually satisfying. And because you don't look at it as a duty, you don't have it. And so because you don't have beauty, you have nothing to upkeep. So you don't take care of you don't upkeep it because it's not a gift that you have. And I want witches to understand, you have the gift of beauty and enchantment, and you upkeep it because it is yours to keep. It's not yours to give to other women, because other women are going to get marriage from a man because she's ugly. She's not threatening. She's acceptable. She's easy to keep, And a lot of these women, they get that and they still don't want to perform the duties needed to keep that man in the bedroom. It's not your, ladies, it's not your job to help other women figure out how to deal with men. They can learn, they can use it or lose it, but first and foremost, they can humble themselves toward you and make an offering to you, because they are not your friend. These women who want to learn your ways, they are not your friend, because they was gossiping about you with the other ugly bitches, trying to figure out how to make sure the men don't come after you. If you're beautiful and you know that your beauty surpasses what any other woman could ever dream of competing with, act like it. And stop thinking women are your friend. Stop befriending women and only deal with witches who don't have these human female jealousies, because we know that we can get our own and yours and somebody, it's everywhere. Stop with the scarcity mindset, ladies. Ugly men will take advantage of you. Stop. Don't let a man call you and text you and this, and if you're not going to sleep with him, learn to tell a man no. And learn to not tell a man no more than 3 times. Meaning, if you tell a man no, and then he's acting like your friend, and then he keeps asking you to perform girlfriend things, he keeps wanting to take you on a date, he keeps trying to get you in a sexual situation, he keeps trying to get you in a situation where he can act like he's your man in public and make people think that you guys are dating. If you have to tell him no more than 3 times, you got to recognize now you got to cut him off, because he's not your friend. He's being persistent in a way where if you keep him around, eventually you're going to let him perform those boyfriend duties that you're so desperate to have someone do, instead of just waiting for the right match. And recognizing how hard it is to date as a black woman and dealing with it. Stop trying to escape it. Stop trying to escape being a black woman. And understand your African history, understand the African female trinity that I've gone through, and understand you as a black woman. You can behave like an African woman. You can have more than one man. And I would rather you wait and have more than one man and have the memory and the having a reference of sexual satisfaction. So even when you satisfy yourself, you are remembering when a black man actually satisfied you, and you can go off of that memory and still get yourself off. Because there are so many women out here, so many fat black women who have allowed ugly, small dick black men sleep with them and convince them this and that because they were just so happy that someone liked them, or they were going for what was easy, and they are traumatized from dealing with a man with a small penis who left them sexually unsatisfied. Traumatized. And I'm urging you, sisters, don't live a life of trauma because you dealt with a man who did not even deserve to be with you. Don't be that one. You better be getting paid. This is why they're traumatized, because they slept with that man for love. And he treated them like nothing. Because if a man loves you and he knows he has a small penis, you will still be satisfied. Game of Thrones, Grey Worm, they castrated those men, and he was still satisfying his woman, and she wasn't cheating on him. They found way he cared about her satisfaction. You got to understand, small dick energy doesn't care about your satisfaction. And there's a lot of men with big dicks who do not care about your satisfaction and don't know, you know what I'm saying? Don't know how to work it. The thing with a man with a big dick, it's just like a man sleeping with a woman, or at least a woman in heat. At the end of the day, if he has a big dick, it really doesn't matter if you're attracted to him or not. You will get some type of pleasure from it, you know. But it's just the sex. Women are not like men where we just want sex. We want emotional connection. You know, so ladies, again, black men, you don't make a black woman feel safe to be emotionally connected to you. You guys deal with white women too much, and furthermore, you black men that don't, you still watch sports, you still listen to rap music that glorifies white women, you still watch Asian porn and all this other shit that glorifies white women. You still watch, you never do anything about the disrespect Hollywood has toward black women. And that's why we don't feel safe, because the trash takes itself out. Black men who are with white women, they have been taken out of our radar. That's doing us a favor, letting us know who the enemy is. But it's you black men who hang out with these men by watching them on TV. Also, is a way of hanging out with these black men who hate black women. So, sisters, I know that you're looking for emotional safety with white men, but ladies, start figuring out who you are, and then date, and start dating and having boyfriends and having sex, and then think about marriage. And that takes independence, and that takes really being sexy, and that takes knowing that you are attractive and you are desired. And the knowing you're desired, it's not confidence doesn't come from getting a tall, dark, and handsome boyfriend. Confidence comes from telling someone who you don't want no, because you know that you can, because your yes is valuable, and you don't give it away to anyone. Stop telling the first person in your face yes just because they came in your face. Do the work, put on the dress, put on the makeup, do the work, buy the ticket, get yourself into a place where there are tall, dark, and handsome men. Get yourself into a place where there are men who can afford a beautiful woman. If it's not happening naturally, do the work to make things happen. Just like the sister realized, she's like, I'm just gonna have to start dating men that I'm attracted to. Yeah, but she's also gonna have to recognize she's gonna have to do work, because she's not a beautiful woman. She's gonna have to put in the work. So that's, I'm letting you black women know, and just witches, but women, Oshun also wants to remind you about cinnamon, vanilla, and if you want to add more success from Oya, more of Oya's sorcery power to gain resources, you can add allspice and nutmeg. But cinnamon is with helps a lot with attracting, and it helps with spiritual protection too. And vanilla is specifically about lust. Vanilla is specifically helps attract, lust from men, and attract men who desire you. It helps. Vanilla has that erzuli thing of really benefiting from sexual experiences with men. Oshun wants you also to know about eucalyptus. And eucalyptus is something that I use in all of my soaps. So you can purchase those on Etsy. Oshun wants you to know that eucalyptus is good for banishing negativity, and eucalyptus is good to keep you fresh in between lovers. So eucalyptus allows you to have multiple lovers without mixing their energies, or without mixing with the energies of the other women that they may be dealing with. Eucalyptus is good, and all these things are related to the hormonal balance and related to finding your sexuality before you settle down. And that's the whole gist of this. Oshun is reminding you, as beautiful women, you are not designed to be with one man the way attractive men can have a multitude of women. You are the equivalent, you are the female equivalent of Shango. And while Oya is Shango's counter, Oya kind of is technically, but Oshun is technically the twin sister of Shango. So having said that, you're dealing with the youngest. That's the difference between Oshun and Oya, is while Oya is Shango's counterpart, Oshun is actually the same age as Oshun is the same age as Shango, while Oya is the same age as Ogun. They are far more ancient. That's why they were a couple before Oshun and Oshun and Shango were even born. Oya was with Ogun. And as the whale, as Ogun Balinyo, as the sperm whale, he was with Yemaya, the maternal whale. If you go more ancient into the Congo mysteries. So Oshun is very young, and Shango is also the youngest masculine Orisha. He's the youngest masculine power, which is politics. Ogun rules war. Shango rules politics. What's the root word of politics? Poly. Polyamory. The sexier you are, the more you are designed for sexual pleasure. And therefore, you are more designed and more equipped to have more than one lover. Not like unattractive people who are not designed nor equipped to have multiple lovers. They are designed to get married and have family. They're not designed for sexuality. They're designed for family structure or social responsibilities. So, again, witches, you don't owe women anything. You don't owe them your mysteries of how to deal with men. Attractive people, you have a right to have multiple partners because you are highly valued. You're highly desired. Don't let someone take away your high desirability when they are not highly desired. Don't let them take you off the market when they're not highly desired. Don't let insecure people lower your value. when you are high value because you're highly desired. Do not let people who are not highly desired, male or female, they are not highly desired, stop seeing them as evenly yoked with you. A person who goes out and receives a multitude of compliments and every time they leave the house does not have much in common with a person who goes out and never gets complimented unless someone is pitying them or feels bad for them. No one actually gasps and stops and almost gets hit by a car. If no one's almost gotten hit by a car because they were so enchanted by your beauty, you're not beautiful. If no one's ever tripped and fell because they were enchanted by your beauty, you're not beautiful. If you don't have these experiences on a regular basis, you're not beautiful. And if you do have these experiences where people are so enchanted by your beauty that they don't treat you normally, that you get treated, that you get punished by people for being beautiful, that you get worshipped by people, by perfect strangers for being beautiful. If you have these experiences, you don't have anything in common with someone who leaves the house and is of no fucking consequence. No one's hurting themselves trying to get a look at the most beautiful thing that they've ever seen in their life, so much that they're putting their life in danger because they are so awestruck by beauty. Stop thinking you have something in common with someone who can't even look in the mirror and feel that way about themselves, who is not awestruck by their own beauty so much that they have to spend so much time with it and on it, that goes out of the house and does not receive any genuine compliments, that people lie to them all day. You can't, a person who is stuck in their tracks and frozen into stone because they're staring at you, they can't lie. That's not a lie. That is speechlessness. And if you have never experienced speechlessness, people being dumbstruck from your beauty, you are not beautiful. And if you are aware of this, don't go out here thinking, hey, I want a tall, dark, and handsome man, and I just, what I'm saying, like, be real, be real with yourself, and humble yourself and do what every other woman who's ugly is doing to get the sex that she desires. Pay for it. Go deal with these men, go deal with these black men who make you do all the work, make you pay, who they'll dick you down, but that's all you'll get. And maybe some bubble gum. Stop thinking you're above the women who are getting dicked down and going about their business. And don't have to tell everyone about it. But you know what? They're not dealing with the anxiety. They know that that's not their man. They know that they can get another one. And it's okay to be single in your 50s and 60s and to have a fulfilling sex life. Than to be married and facing divorce in your 50s and 60s because you didn't live your life for you. You lived it for someone else. You lived it so you didn't have to work that hard. You lived it so some other man could pay your bills. Let me tell you something. The number one bill a woman needs paid is getting dicked down. I'm warning you, ladies. Don't die without the sexual satisfaction that can be had out here. And it don't always have to come from a tall, dark, and handsome man. And a lot of times it might not. It's going to come from a man with the most masculinity. It's going to come from a man who does things, even if it's just making you laugh. on a regular basis. It's going to come from a man who does things that actually make your hormones say, I want to give him my pussy because he has earned it. He has done things to me to make me wet, to make me feel like I feel safe around him. Don't put your hormones through hell because you think you're better than other women, that you don't want to share the sexual satisfaction that other women are are sharing in with humility, though. You know, Oshún is letting you, a lot of you women know, um being single can be a choice. It definitely can be a choice, but a lot of you women, it's your lack of humility. It's your your it's not your standards are never too high if you can reach them. But if you are not a tall, dark, and sexy, gorgeous woman, where you know, it's not where do you get off. We know where you get off wanting a tall, dark, and handsome man because that's what every woman wants. But realistically, um, if you're not meeting those standards, either figure out how to meet those standards or accept what you are bringing to the table and accept what the value of that actually is. Tall, dark, and handsome men, um, I'm not speaking for all of them. Everyone is an individual. We're not objectifying everyone, but at the end of the day, if they don't value, if you're, if you're finding that, if like again, if you look at your past 10 boyfriends, and at least 5 of them were not tall, dark, and handsome, maybe that's not what values you. But if you're actually beautiful, your last 10 boyfriends, all of them are probably different heights, different races, different ages, different backgrounds. If you're beautiful, none of your boyfriends look alike. You know? Because if you're really beautiful, you don't just see someone who's tall. You're not looking for clout. You're not looking for someone to be everything that you're not. If you're beautiful, you're bringing everything to the table. And you're taking everything with you if you leave. So, a lot of you women, black women, stop letting ugly, small dick men manipulate you, and I should just say small dick energy, because you can have a healthy relationship with a man who has a smaller penis than other men. It's about your satisfaction. So stop letting men come after you because they see you as an insecure woman. They see you as a marginalized woman. They feel because you're black, you're going to be hyper impressed with them as a white guy, and really if what impresses you is that a man is handsome and that, um, start saying no. Say no to people's money. Say no to opportunities that make you uncomfortable. Say no to men who you don't desire. It's okay to be that bitch and some ugly guy comes in your face and he wants to talk to you. I don't care if is gonna buy your drink. Stop being broke out here. Don't date broke. Don't be broke. Don't look for a man to buy your drink. Look for a man to really add value. Have money to do what you want in life. So a man can't impress you by, I want to buy your drink. I want to buy your dinner. I want to, what I'm saying? No. If he's not the one you want, if there's no chemistry, tell him no. And it's better to sit the rest of your night alone, buying, eating your own meal and having an opportunity for someone who you actually want to talk to you, showing that you're still actually single instead of someone else coming in who's attractive and now this ugly guy's in your face. Learn to be mean enough to where you put yourself first. Stop putting how someone feels, because I'm letting you know, ugly men, they come with these sob stories and they want you to feel bad for them. just like just like ugly women, or women who are less desirable and don't make friends that easy because they may be overweight or whatever, or they may got some type of issues. They always make friends by doing things for people. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I'll pick you up. I'll give you a ride. I'll borrow you money. They're always doing something for someone, you know, because that's where their actual value is in. Whereas an attractive person, our value isn't being attractive. People want to be around us. We're attracting blessings to people. We're attracting opportunities. We're attracting things to people. A person is automatically benefiting just by being seen in public with us. That's why I keep warning beautiful women. It's better to be alone than to be seen with someone who is not adding value to your life there, and they're taking it away because they making you look bad while you're making them look good. Men, you don't have to go at any unattractive woman that throws themselves at you. You know what I'm saying? And men, it's okay to say no to a woman because she does not look how you want her to look. If you're tall, dark, and handsome, you know what I'm saying? Or if you as a man are attractive, you need to recognize that. Because ugly men know that they're ugly. But if you're an attractive man and you're not being picky with women, then you're no different than a beautiful woman who's too dumb, who's too fucking stupid, or too fucking poor to say no to an ugly man that she don't want. Stop being nice to people and start putting yourself first. That's how you date. You find your match. And you stop wasting time with people who your body is going to tell you everything you need to know about whether or not someone is a good match for you. And that's probably the last thing I just wanted to say about being high value and hormonal balances. Men, if you don't have any killer instincts and you're not doing martial arts, you're not hunting, you're not doing survival skills, having money is good, but if you don't have any type of survival skills at all, you don't deserve pussy. And you will be dealing with women who are settling for you because you're not going to be arousing them. If you're not doing things that demonstrate masculinity, if you don't work a job where you have to use your physical strength, where you have to build something, where you have to check other men, where you have to lead somehow. If you can't hunt and gather, if you can't build a cabin, if you've never been to prison before, you know what I'm saying? If you haven't demonstrated to have some type of real masculinity, you don't deserve pussy. And the fact that a woman is giving it to you, she's not in her real womanhood. So if you, as a man, you want to start dealing with beautiful women who are designed to sexually satisfy men, you have to start working on your killer instinct. You cannot be you can't be out here acting like a homosexual. You can't be dressing like a homosexual. You can't be talking like a homosexual. You can't be effeminate. You can't be co-signing fuckery. You have to check men. You have to set boundaries. You have to say no to interracial dating. You have to definitively say that you accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior. You have to show that you're a warlock. You have to demonstrate, and you don't have to prove that you have metaphysical powers or metaphysical strengths, but you have to demonstrate that you are different than other men in that you are masculine and that you have boundaries as a man. You have to have sexual self-control. You can't let any ugly woman flirt with you, be in your face, because beautiful women are going to see that and they're going to say, he likes ugly, fat, insecure women. And we will never sleep with you. We will never give you the time of day because we see that you will let fat, ugly, insecure woman cock block you. You have no control. You don't care about your public image. So men, when you are constantly surrounded by women who are not beautiful, you are letting you first of all you're letting the world know, hey, I'm more of a homosexual. I'm not surrounded by beautiful women. I'm surrounded by women who can't get their own man. And I'm not masculine. I'm effeminate. I'm here to make undesirable women feel better about themselves. I'm not a man of consequence. I'm a doormat. I'm a pushover. When you have a high standard for beautiful women, you are letting the world know you're a killer. Fuck your bank account. There's a lot of broke men who can get laid because just being around them gives a woman the hormonal balance she needs to feel a real sense of safety, to feel balanced by a man's masculinity. A lot of you men, you can't balance a woman's hormones, and a lot of you guys are half gay. A lot of you guys are bisexual, but to those of you who aren't, you got to understand, you're not living in your masculine energy. You're waiting for a woman to do all the work. You're waiting for a woman to come at you. You're waiting for a woman to teach you how to love her. You're waiting for, um you if you're not a warrior, if you're not demonstrating, and that means spiritual warfare too. You men out here, you can't control your anger, you can't control your diet, you can't control your lust, you can't control your sports gambling. You're dealing with all these deadly sins. No woman wants a man who's not in control of himself. You can't lead anyone when your body and your lifestyle shows you have no self-control. This is why I'm saying the only men who actually deserve pussy are men who have killed or are trained to kill without a weapon. Without a weapon. So you can throw a weapon into the mix too, but the weapon should be tools that you can build a cabin with. You can kill with an axe, but if you can't build a cabin with it, you're really not as masculine as you think you are either. Kill without a weapon. Without a gun. Too. If you have not or are not trained to kill, preferably without a weapon, you don't deserve pussy. And women are not beautiful enough to set that standard for themselves. They're simply not. You are dealing with women who have as much, if not more, testosterone than you. Any man who's not a killer, you're dealing with you're homosexual. You're in a homosexual relationship. You're dealing with a woman who's in her masculine energy. So women, you have to, especially African women, you have to start looking at your hormones and your sexuality and everything, and start being realistic about what is needed to balance your hormones. And you need to humble yourself and stop looking at getting sexual satisfaction out as always a competition. Stop always looking at it as a competition. Understand you're objectifying this man for sex. Stop fantasizing, about being the princess when you can't even, when you look in the mirror and you know good and goddamn well you are not the most beautiful woman in the world. So be realistic, let sex be sex. If you not sexy, and being sexy and sexuality and giving sexual satisfaction, if that's not your lifestyle, let sex be sex and stop thinking you're better than someone who has made a lifestyle out of being sexy and is getting sexually satisfied as a result. Peace and love.